It's a great day in PEI. The weather's crap. We actually have snow flurries and wind like I've not seen in a long time from the east, and it's brutal and it's terrible out there. But it's a great day because we just had the briefing from our premier and the chief medical officer, who have given us a bit of an update on the whole quarantine and COVID situation. Slight little bit of not so great news. We have one more case of COVID-19 in PEI. That means we now have 27 cases, 24 of whom have recovered. This one new case is another international travel situation. It's someone who's a male in his 50s. He came across the bridge and is now self-isolating at home while the symptoms are playing themselves out. So, again, no community spread. We're good in that department. And because we're good in that department, things are going to start to change here in PEI starting on Friday. Friday, May the 1st, some of the restrictions are going to start to lift a little bit. Right now, we're allowed to be with members of our household for outdoor walks. One of us is recommended only at a time to go and do shopping, and hopefully that's limited to once a week. Other errands as necessary, like going to the pharmacy, medical appointments, and that kind of thing. But for the most part, no goofing around, no just being out and going for a drive just for the fun of it. So that's still mostly in place. Starting on Friday, we will be able to congregate in groups of 5 or fewer with people not necessarily from our own household. So, for instance, Janice will be able to go for her regular walks with our next door neighbor, which lately she's had to go for her walks with me, and that's no fun for her at all because I walk either too fast or too slow, or we don't want to go in the same direction, or I'm too busy and I don't want to walk now, but I can walk later. And now she can go for a walk with the lady next door whenever she wants, which is awesome. And I can hang out with my neighbor next door, this lady's husband, my buddy Barry. So we still are supposed to maintain our 6-foot distance and all the other things that we need to do to keep ourselves safe. Stay home if we're not feeling well, especially if we have any symptoms like a temperature or a dry cough or the other symptoms of COVID-19. All those things still apply. We're still being asked to not congregate in stores. Restaurants aren't open yet, but there are several phases to the plan which will play itself out in the next 6 weeks or so. And if everything keeps going well, by the middle of June, we will probably be back into a situation where we can go to restaurants that have in-room dining. The tables might be farther apart. We can do some outdoor sports as long as they're not contact sports or involve too many people. So I presume golfing will be back on. Fishing will be on fairly soon. Recreational angling and some other things. So pretty excited about that after what we've been through in the last really 6.5 weeks. It's nice to start to just loosen the screws on us just a little bit. But we're still maintaining a hard control at the border. So when you come across the bridge to PEI, if they're not happy with your answers, you're going back. And if they are happy with your answers, you still have to go to wherever it is you're going, straight there, not stopping at stores or anything else, and self-isolate for 14 days until the symptoms have had a chance to come and go. And if you haven't developed any symptoms after 14 days, then you're allowed to mix with the regular population. So all those controls are still going to stay in place through all phases of the relaxation into the middle of June. And then at some point down the road, they're maybe going to relax even more. But we'll just see it, and we'll take those things as they come. So maybe some more things will start happening as time goes on. We're pretty excited. Hope things are going well where you are. I know it's not great everywhere, even in Canada. A lot of new cases in Quebec and Alberta, and Ontario especially. BC still is in bad shape. Saskatchewan, Manitoba, not too bad. Nova Scotia, not great. They have almost 1,000 cases in Nova Scotia. They've had several deaths, quite a few deaths in one particular seniors facility. But for the most part, New Brunswick has done really well. They have almost no active cases left. A couple of people in ICU. I don't think they've had any fatalities there. We haven't had anyone even in hospital in PEI. So of the 27 cases we've had, nobody's even been to hospital for any kind of stay over or ICU or anything. So we're really doing great, frankly. And New Brunswick's doing quite great too. So there's a small chance that New Brunswick and PEI may work together on slightly relaxing the bridge restriction. I know our son Neil, he lives over in Fredericton, and we haven't seen him since really the end of February. And right now, it looks like it'll be at least another month and a half, maybe 2, before we get a chance to see him. We'd like to see him sooner rather than later, obviously, but we know that it's important to be safe. He's safe in Fredericton, and they have relaxed some restrictions over there, similar to what we've done, I guess, but maybe a little bit earlier. As of this past weekend in New Brunswick, you're allowed to bubble with one other household. So with that one other household of your choosing, so typically that's going to be one set of grandparents or a sister or brother who lives across the street or something like that. So it's pretty limited, but at least you can get out of the house a little bit and congregate with a very small group of people that are not in your household. So that's pretty good. But as New Brunswick relaxes and we relax, we may get to the point where we can reduce the restrictions on the bridge for New Brunswickers that need to come to PEI and for PEI Islanders who need to go to New Brunswick. But as far as other things like people with cottages in PEI that don't actually live here, you're not allowed over yet. For people who don't have a legitimate purpose to come here and live here, if they're not moving here or coming back home because they actually live here, you're not coming over unless you're an essential worker or unless you're driving a truck and delivering goods or services to the people of PEI. So with all the relaxation that's coming in the next little while, we're still going to keep tight restrictions at the airport, tight restrictions at the bridge, and tight restrictions at the ferry terminal. And I think that's the most important thing. As much as we want to see people come in from outside, that's where the disease is going to come from if we get any more. Every single case of COVID-19 in PEI has come from off of the island. And the only way to be sure we don't get any more is to really strictly control the people that come on to PEI. So I get it. It's not ideal, but it's a life or death situation. This disease is deadly, and we want to do what we can to keep it from getting any worse, at least here where we are. So that's the scoop. Pretty good news. And the other fronts, I've been playing with the radio a little bit, and I rearranged my ham station. So now I've got Linux running on this monitor here. Got the radio now over on my left-hand side because I am left-handed. So I need my Morse code key over here on the left-hand side. I want my microphone, my headphones, everything is now on the left. And then I'm using a wireless keyboard and mouse to control what's going on the radio. So anyway, pretty cool setup, and I have more work to do. All of that, the computer stuff, is running on this little wee tiny Raspberry Pi right here, which I don't know a whole lot about, but with the help of my cousin Glenn and some books and things, I'm learning a little bit more, relearning some things about the Raspberry Pi and Linux, which is a lot of fun. So that's the update from PEI. Today is the 28th of April. It is a Tuesday, and it's just about supper time here, so this video will be up probably in the next half hour or so. Take care of yourselves and each other.